The grocery store looks the same as always. Same aisles, same music overhead, same shelves. Evan notices a small pause at the checkout, the moment when the total appears on the screen. It's higher than expected again. Not shocking, just quietly higher. The kind of number that makes someone recheck the cart, even though nothing extra was added. No steak, no treats, just the basics. The card goes through, the receipt prints, life moves on, but something about that pause lingers longer than it used to. That pause shows up in a lot of places now. At the gas pump, watching the numbers spin faster than memory expects. In the apartment mailbox, opening a rent notice that looks familiar but feels heavier. On a banking app late at night, scrolling past bills already paid and still feeling behind. Evan notices it everywhere, not just personally, but in other people too. In the way coworkers talk about overtime like it's oxygen. In the jokes friends make about never ordering appetizers anymore. In the quiet way older neighbors mention cutting things for now, even though now never seems to end. Everyone is working. That part hasn't disappeared. Morning traffic is still packed. Parking lots are still full. Email inboxes are still busy. People show up, clock in, answer calls, move boxes, type reports, serve food, fix things, manage schedules. Full-time work is happening all around, and yet the math doesn't land the way it used to. The basics don't fit as cleanly inside a paycheck anymore. A family with two incomes still checks prices carefully. A recent graduate with a decent job avoids looking too closely at the student loan balance. A warehouse worker picks up extra shifts but still delays a dentist appointment. A retired couple quietly tracks grocery spending like it's a second job. Different lives, different ages, same feeling. Effort is there. Stability is not. At first it feels like bad luck, or timing, or inflation, whatever that means in everyday life. But after enough months of the same pattern, the feeling changes. It stops feeling like a rough patch and starts feeling like a rule. Work full time. Do what's expected. And still feel like the ground is slowly tilting. Evan starts noticing that the stress isn't loud, it's not panic. It's quieter than that. It's the constant, low-level calculation running in the background. If gas costs this much, then groceries have to look like that. If rent goes up, then savings go down. If savings go down, then one unexpected expense becomes a problem. Not a disaster, just a problem that doesn't fit anywhere else. This is where things get confusing, because the advice people grew up hearing still floats around. Work hard, be responsible, live within means. Those ideas sound reasonable. They still feel reasonable. But they don't explain why someone doing all of that still feels stuck. The hidden part isn't about laziness or bad choices. It's about timing and structure. Paychecks move slowly, costs move quickly. Wages tend to change in small steps, usually after long conversations, approvals, or job switches. Prices don't wait. They adjust quietly and often, sometimes without explanation. Rent can jump once a year. Groceries can shift week to week. Insurance, utilities, subscriptions, everything inches upward on its own schedule. Imagine walking up an escalator that's moving down. Walking harder helps, but the movement underneath never stops. Standing still means sliding backward. That's what a lot of full-time work feels like now. Effort is constant, but the system underneath is doing something else entirely. Another part of the confusion comes from how pay is framed. A salary sounds stable, an hourly rate sounds fair, but neither automatically adjusts to the real cost of living in real time. The paycheck arrives on schedule, but the world it's supposed to support has already changed by the time it gets there. Evan notices how expenses don't arrive evenly either. They come in clusters. Rent, utilities, phone bill, insurance, groceries, gas. Then something unexpected. A tire, a prescription, a repair. Each one is manageable on its own. Together they squeeze everything else out. This keeps happening because the system rewards consistency, not comfort. Businesses plan around predictable labor costs. Housing markets respond to demand, not paychecks. Prices rise where people still manage to pay, even if that payment comes with stress. As long as the bills get paid, The system reads that as success. There's no single villain here. No meeting where someone decides life should feel harder. It's a collection of incentives quietly reinforcing each other. Landlords raise rent because the market allows it. Companies limit raises because costs must stay controlled. Prices increase because people adapt, cut elsewhere, and keep going. The system doesn't ask how it feels. It only checks whether it continues to function. One common misunderstanding is the idea that this feeling means something is being done wrong. That if budgeting were tighter or discipline stronger, the pressure would disappear. Budgeting helps. Planning helps. But neither changes the math when the baseline cost of living keeps rising faster than income. Another belief is that this phase will pass on its own, that things will go back to normal. But normal has shifted quietly over time. The past version of normal was built around cheaper housing, slower price changes, and wages that covered more ground. Waiting for that version to return is like waiting for a store to bring back prices from 5 years ago. It's not how the system works. Some people assume the answer is just earning more. And for some, that helps. But not everyone can switch jobs easily, negotiate pay, or climb ladders at the same pace prices climb. Even people who do earn more often find the relief temporary. The gap closes again. The clearer way to see it is this. Full-time work now often covers access, not comfort. Access to housing, not security. Access to food, not ease. Access to stability as long as nothing goes wrong. The system isn't broken in the way people imagine broken things. It's operating exactly as designed, prioritizing movement and growth over balance. Once that perspective settles in, the stress feels less personal. Still heavy, still real, but less confusing. The pressure isn't a personal failure, it's a structural squeeze that shows up in everyday moments, like that pause at the checkout screen. Evan still goes to work, still buys groceries, still pays the bills. Life doesn't stop. But there's a clear understanding now of why full-time effort doesn't stretch as far as it used to. Not because people forgot how to be responsible, but because the ground beneath responsibility keeps shifting. The unsettling part isn't that things are hard, it's that this has quietly become normal. And once that's seen clearly, the pause at the checkout makes sense. Not as a moment of surprise, but as a small reminder of how the rules of everyday money have changed, even though the routines haven't. Follow and subscribe for more videos.